Hello. Hello, Ballpark Ship. Hello, Joe. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Got people here already. Not bad. Hi. We're doing it again. It's. I know every time I say this every time, but there's been a whole thing. Oh, it's been a week. We start operating on. We actually aren't gonna specifically operate on a puppet today, although, the name of the company. Hello, Scarlett. I thought you were supposed to be not here. Scarlett's still here. I don't have my eye things on Do Not Disturb. I should probably do that. Do Not Disturb. Here we go. Oh, yeah. We doing some stuff. I'm having some coffee, which is probably a mistake because I've already had too much coffee. I have so much to do. I have much more than I expected to have to do now. Hello, Puppet Chaos. Nice to see you. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, so we got a kind of a grab bag of various things to do today. I have to make a bunch of things that I usually make in bulk. So we're just gonna do a bunch of that on the stream. I don't know how much of it we're gonna get through today. I got a couple things to show. I got a follow up from the podcast, which is exciting. Even Jamie doesn't know about this. Wow, look at Scarlett's going already with the links. Yes, listen to the podcast. PixelsandPuppets.com. The new episode is out as of Saturday. What is time? There, we'll be here at the end, so plug all the links now. Gotcha. Thank you. Well done. Yeah, so the new episode of the podcast has been released for all half a week. So you got a week and a half before the next one. So go listen to it now. Because we're going to have a follow-up on this stream from something that we talked about on the podcast. Pixels and Puppets. Go to pixelsandpuppets.com. This is the curse of all podcasters, is we do have a tendency to talk over each other. We just have to sort of take a step back and go, okay, I can hear myself doing it. It's one of the nice things about live streaming. I don't have to pay attention to you if I don't want to. Anyway, this is the podcast. But first I'm gonna have my coffee, as always. I know, Joe. There's so much. As I think I talked about in the podcast, I don't even remember. Things have been a bit slow on the shop. That changed in the past 24 hours. I sold 2 puppets in the past 24 hours, which is pretty good, especially for how things have been. So I now have to replenish some stock, which is good because I was at the point where I was like, I can't build anymore because I got nowhere to put them because no one's buying. But a couple people did buy, which is fantastic. So I've changed my plans. I originally this week was going to do all prototyping because that's usually what I do when I've got a lot of stock and I don't have any place to put new stock. So I'll just I'll prototype new stuff. And I got started on that, and then this happened. So I want to make sure that there's stuff for people to get. You're not that late in these keep. We just started. We're just getting rolling. Look, I haven't even got through my coffee yet, so we're good. So the first thing I can show off. Speaking of prototypes. Oops, do that. Just drop the needle. Would you say Billy the DJ term? Did I dropped a needle, not the needle. There we go. Okay. Long-time viewers may recognize this. A long time ago, we did a whole video series on designing and making your own puppet pattern from scratch. And that's what this is. This is what we built, entirely hand sketched, drawn on stream and everything. You can go and watch it, and this is it. But the difference here is you'll notice there's no arm rods because they are removable arm rods. Now, couple things to say about removable arm rods. Generally speaking, most people at a professional level don't do removable arm rods or do semi-permanent arm rods, which is to say that they can be taken out, but they are generally stitched in. You do have like pop stitches, and there's a little like a pocket and sort of flag thing that you make. Swazzle does this, BJ Guy does this, I'm pretty sure Tom Stewart does this. Kermit does, I had to shift some things around and Kermit got a little mangled, so I have to fix Kermit. Sorry, Kermit. We'll make him look nicer later. Yeah, so the flag style of arm rod that a lot of professionals do, that's semi-permanent in that you can take it out, but you are still stitching it in and you do have to pop stitches to take it out. And the reason that we don't do removable arm rods is the general thing is they either look terrible in that there's a big ugly connection point, or that they just move around too much, they're too loose, and so performers don't like them because it's things like you want to be able to rotate the wrist, for example, and removable arm rods are generally not great for that. They always loosen up, they always end up falling out, and they're more pain than they're worth. Why would you want removable arm rods is a question. So there's a couple of things. First of all, let's say you're not going to use both of them. Some performers, and I'm among them, I'm not good with dual arm rods. So sometimes they'll just pin, one arm to the body and just use the arm that's closest to you. So in that case, you may want a removable arm rod. The other thing, of course, and the big thing, and that's why we're going with this, is there's going to be a new series on the shop. That's one of the things I was prototyping until now, of more human-like characters. Y'all know monsters are my thing, and I will always love my monsters, but I want to kind of branch out a little bit more and get a little bit more variety, So I'm going to start doing a series of kind of Sesame Street inspired human-like characters, a kind of Bert and Ernie style, Don Celine era. Koya, nice to see you. Hello. Yeah, it's true. I guess Kermit has seen a lot of puppets insides. It's kind of a gruesome view of things under construction here. But I figured this was a good base to start with, and I'm going to sort of go off of there. I'm basically going to make a whole bunch of different head shapes, and then we're going to do not really Whatnot style, but kind of that. We're not selling kits. They are going to be finished puppets, but put different features on and make different characters, but they are going to need some kind of at least rudimentary clothing. And that is one of the things that I don't really ever do because I'm always building monsters, and monsters don't wear clothes. But we are going to have to do some kind of clothing for these ones. And so for doing costume changes, that's where the arm rods become a big problem, of course. Now, the way that a lot of professional puppets solve that problem is by not having the arm rod be removable, by having the whole arm be removable, right? Tiny band t-shirts for all the puppets. Not a bad idea. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Generally speaking, you don't want to use snaps. I mean, you can. It depends on how much the character is going to be used. I know for a fact that some Operation Taylor, that's the thing though, right? Making clothes is a whole different discipline to making puppets. And I don't really have any experience with that. So that's one of the things I have to sort of get my head around, is at least some very rudimentary things. I know it's not that hard, particularly since I know how to use a sewing machine, but most of my puppets are arms removable with magnets. That is another way to go about it. The thing is, like, most of the time, particularly for professional builds, that kind of thing isn't generally used on hero characters, like on characters that are going to be used a lot out front. You can do that on background characters and stuff, no problem. But on anything that's going to be worked a lot, those articulation points always weaken, and they either pull or they tear. Something's going to happen. It's going to come apart on set when you're shooting something in a time you don't want it to, and that's going to be, time is money. So we generally opt for a more old school but reliable way of doing, like running like a line up the arm and then tying it off on the inside with like a big button style hook and washer kind of thing. And that way the arms are removable, but they're also very, very solidly anchored. But since these are going to be for the shop and they need to be kind of more simplified, we are going to do removable arm rods. Now, there's a couple of different techniques for doing removable arm rods. Adam Kruger teaches one, and this is kind of a modification of that. It's even simpler than the version Adam teaches. And so basically all I've done is I've hot glued in onto the sandwich between the two halves of the hand some aquarium tubing. That's really kind of it. And then I stitched it up, closed it up. And so we've just got this, and it's very hidden. It's not, it's not super obvious. But the advantage is, since I put heat shrink tubing on all of my arm rods, and this is where the advantage comes in. Kittens, we're talking about kittens. Oh, you got a kitten. Yep. That's, yeah, absolutely. There's a Pets and Things channel on the Discord, by all means. Because all of my arm rods are coated with this heat shrink tubing, they're kind of rubberized. So they've got a bit of a grip to them. So when and this fits very snugly into the aquarium tubing, it does hold pretty well. So if you can sort of shove it all up in there, and you can see that we can get some good motion. It is turning a bit, so it's not ideal. Yes, I have thought about doing a monster with removable eyes. I've had some requests to do sort of swappable features and stuff. There's a lot to that, and it's really about longevity. There's all kinds you can put Velcro or magnets, or there's all kinds of ways you can do that, but over time, there is no good solution for that. Over time, it's all going to either tear or pull or distend the fabric, or something bad will happen because it's just a point of, putting stress on the materials over and over again. And that's something I have to think about for a shop build. We talked about this a bit on the podcast, and it's funny that, professional puppets, particularly that are used in TV and movies and stuff like that, they're not terribly, what's the word, rugged, they can be a bit fragile. They break and tear, and they need repairs all the time. That's why you have puppet wranglers on set, standing by, ready to fix things, because things break because they're used a lot. And that you can do on set, and that's just part of how it works. However, for me, selling in the shop to people who aren't professionals, right, there's a certain level of ruggedness that I have to build into all these things that are actually more rugged than a professional puppet, So this piggy is very fragile. Well, that's emotionally though, But anyway, this is my solution, and it's not bad. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And this way, you can pull the arm rod out, put a new piece of clothing on, and you can use I figure Build-A-Bear workshop sizes will work with this, and the American Girl doll sizes will work with this. Semi-strong rare earth magnet hot glued to the back of the largest plastic washer might help keep it from pulling too much in the fabric when you attach the feature. Yeah, well, there's ways you could go about it. Now the thing is, what would hot glue do to a magnet? Isn't heat and magnet bad? if I remember correctly, doesn't heat demagnetize a magnet? See, there's just you gotta play with stuff and figure it out. But that is, I remember seeing an earlier Sesame Street sketch altogether now where you can see a puppet's eyes pop off midway, it drops off this off screen and they stick it back on. Yep, it happens. It just happens. We talked about this on the podcast. But when you say professional puppet, you're not saying toy, right? Toys are built to withstand a lot more abuse than a professional puppet would. A professional puppet looks great, it can do more things, but they're also more fragile as a result. And that's just how it is, and that's why you have people on set who can fix them. But I can't sell something like that on the shop, right? So I have to think kind of halfway between professional puppet and toy, right? So that's where I am with that. So that's something that is coming eventually. I was going to prototype all this week, but stuff happened. The generic puppets I bought Oh, the chat's happening. For Amazon, early on in my puppy building career fit into 18-month-old clothes. Amazon now thinks I'm a parent. Well, that is the thing. Like, infant clothing can also work as well, although infant clothing tends to look like infant clothing, right? I switched to the magnets because of an arm popping off during a performance. It popped. Yep, there we go. See? Like we're saying, and that's, that happens in a performance, or if you're shooting something for a show, then that's just how it rolls. But I can't sell that on the shop, right? So it's an Achilles heel, and it's something I do have to think about for these shop builds. Like, I do have to kind of make them a little bit more foolproof. They're not all the way there. Like, you can break these if you really try. If you give it to a kid who isn't careful with it, it'll break. And I make sure people know that ahead of time. So. Oh, okay. So what else are we doing? There was that. Oh, I know. Let me finish my coffee, and then we'll get to the podcast follow-up. This is actually kind of cool. Well, it's not going to be a surprise to some of you, but it was a pleasant surprise for me. They're also easy to get on because they're designed for kids. Yeah. One of the things I'm going to do for this series, I haven't even decided on the name yet. I gotta sit down with Gus and brainstorm some branding. There's going to be like a catchy name for the whole series. But I'm going to do like simple kind of, turtleneck style jumpers or t-shirts, that kind of thing. And I might even do them like Velcro in the back, so you can just tear them open and put them on, take them off. I cannot believe I've been kept in the dark about this podcast follow-up. It just happened yesterday, so, it was just kind of spontaneous. All right, the coffee is gone. Time to get on with the live stream. As we talked about on the podcast, the fleece apocalypse is happening. Possibly. I haven't looked today, so it might be over. But Nylon fleece is in the back order right now. At least the undyed stuff is on back order. Georgia Stage still has some stock of mill-dyed stuff, but the white stuff that you dye yourself is not available currently. So, yes, the fleece apocalypse. So, one of the things we talked about was I have some older mill-dyed stock. Now, the reason we got into this is because I get all of my nylon fleece from a store called Weird Kid, which is here in Canada. And because of that, like they import the undyed stuff and they dye it themselves, and then I don't have to pay for duty. So it ends up being, hello, Gerbils in Space. Yes, we are streaming. It ends up being a little bit more affordable for me. By a little bit, I mean like a lot. Literally, I can order something from the States, and the exchange rate, like what I get from Weird Kid, is about the same cost for the actual materials. But the shipping is cheaper because we're literally like, we're almost, I could go there on like public transit. And I may just do that one day. Show up on the doorstep. Hi, you know me. But so the shipping is more affordable, and it's the import fees, is the duty cost. That could literally double the cost of me bringing in fleece from the States, as opposed to Weird Kid, where they just soak that cost themselves, right? So it does end up being a little more expensive per part, as it were, because they're hand dyeing it as well, which obviously labor time. But one of the things that does is, because they hand dye it themselves, is it gets this really nice texture. And y'all have heard me talk about this before, the nice pilly texture. I'll give you an example of that. Let's go to the overhead cam. I think it'll probably be the best one for this. Georgia Stage still says white nylon fleece back ordered. Yeah, so it's the fleece apocalypse is still ongoing. This is an untouched bolt of, this is a yard of stuff from Weird Kid. And you can see it already. You can see the nice pilly texture. It's got this really nice kind of, it's very Muppety kind of thing. It's also very, very soft, and it's very, very stretchy. Now, all this is the regular nylon fleece from Georgia Stage. That's the only place that they have the patent to distribute it. get an AI to dye all my fleece, which is why you have no fleece. Um, but you know, the stuff you get out of the mill. So there's two ways of dye. You can get a machine to do it, or you can get somebody like to actually do it by hand. By hand means usually in a washing machine still, but nevertheless, it hasn't like gone through an industrial mill process to dye it. And this is just the white stuff that's been put in a washing machine. Literally, I've seen the pictures of Weird Kid doing it with the appropriate dye formula, and this is how it comes out. So it's nice and soft, it's stretchy, and it's got this really nice kind of gnarly, pilled up texture. So I had some of the mill dyed stuff already. This, I believe, is actually older stuff from Puppet Pelts, back when they were still owned by Lori and Cindy. This may have in fact been their frog line, which got discontinued. Frog for a very specific reason, as you may be able to tell. But this is mill dyed, so this is not done by hand. This is all a big milling industrial machine doing it. And we can get close up to the camera here. This should autofocus. So there's the texture of that. Okay, and you know, it looks fine, it looks nice. It's just the same stuff. It's got a nice thick pile. It's nice and stretchy. But that's what that looks like. So the experiment was, and I was actually informed by Cindy herself, ex of Puppet Pelts, that if you want to pill up your fleece, all you got to do is run it through a washing machine, obviously with no soap, on gentle cycle, low temperature, and don't put it in the dryer, just let it hang to dry, and you will get that nice texture. So that's what, well, actually my wife did it because she was going to do laundry anyway, but she volunteered. But here is the result, and it's pretty darn good. So this is same exact fleece that we've just seen, but you can see it's got that nice gnarly, pilly texture to it. It is also much softer, and it is very stretchy. Don't mind me washing some puppets again. Exactly. Yeah. So all this is the same stuff as this. You can see the difference right there. It's just this, the nice pilly stuff. Thank you, Scarlett. Enjoy whatever it is you're going to go do. Hopefully sleep. This is the same exact stuff, cut from the same piece of cloth, literally. But this has just been put through a washing machine on low temperature with no soap and then hung to dry. And that's it. Gentle cycle. So the good news is I have a commission that wants the very pilly stuff. And so that's what this is going to be used for. So there's the podcast follow-up. Yes, it works. This is the conclusion. So that was the first thing. There's your podcast follow-up. We will also address it on the coming podcast, because I did say I would try to do it in time for the next podcast. I did. But that is to say Margaret did. Thank you, Margaret. So yeah, that's great. That's good to know. Because look, if I absolutely need some and I can't get some, if there is some place, like I know Georgia Stage still has a bunch of mill-dyed stuff in stock. So if I needed some, I could still get some and just run through the washing machine. Oh, there you go. So that's good news. And I highly recommend doing that with your fleece. If you've got nylon fleece that has been mill-dyed, it makes it all better. It just makes it, the texture is much nicer. It's much softer and stretchier. So yeah, I think you can tell us about a 3D printer. Not yet, but I am thinking and looking, and I have been looking at the Prusa printers that you talked about. And it's like, it's largely a matter of which one at this point, and like how much space do I have to put it in. I could send him a 3D printer one to assemble it. Send 3D printer and trade for a puppet. I mean, I can build stuff. We'll talk. But anyway, what else are we doing? We actually have to be somewhat productive today. Where are we at? We're almost half an hour in here. All right. I got to do batches of stuff. One of the stuff batches I got to do is arm rods. I got to do a batch of arm rods, as you may be able to guess based on what's on the table here. So I'm going to do a batch of arm rods. That's the very first thing. So there are lots of different ways to do arm rods. Some are more complex and take more time and result in very, very fancy and very nice arm rods. And then there's the quick and dirty. I'm kind of halfway between those. I do very simple arm rods, but they feel nice, they look nice, and they work very well. So I do have a couple of ways of cutting down on the labor time. The very first thing is on the handles, because you always want some kind of handle on your arm rod. A lot of people just get dowels, for example. You know, like a wooden dowel. And then they'll measure these and cut these, and then they'll drill a hole. And they'll drill a hole usually off center, because you kind of want a place to rest your thumb. That's great, and also time consuming. So I kind of cut down on the time because I always have to work as quickly as possible. Based on my business model, as you all know. So here's my secret weapon. I have talked about this before, but we'll go over it again. Here's my secret weapon for arm rod handles. These are sponge brushes, and y'all probably have seen these before. I just buy these in bulk. They're dirt cheap. And what you do is when you get your sponge brush, you got a nice wooden dowel here. And these are never put together very well, which is a good thing, because you can just kind of, most of these at least, wiggle it and then pull it out, and you've got a nice pre-drilled hole right there. This you can save. You can either use this as a stipple tool for barge or for paint, or if you really want, it can go in the landfill. But you probably shouldn't do that. Save it for something. You can even like carve little eye bags or something. It's just a piece of foam. So anyway, that's what I do for my handles. Now, this hole is a bit too big and it's not deep enough by default, but this is at least a good starting point. And then I take the drill press and I take a 3/32 inch drill bit, drill bit, and I drill down as far as it will go, and I make a nice deep hole to seat the rod in. But this is much more affordable than just buying wooden dowels, let me tell you. The only disadvantage is you don't get the offset. So, there isn't necessarily a shelf to put your thumb. I don't know if I've ever actually met a performer that's done that. So, not a big deal. And also, like, if I had a client who came to me and wanted that, I would absolutely do that. But for this default stuff for the shop, you don't really need to do that. For the rods themselves, I use, as always, copper-clad steel welding rod. There's a number of different things you can use. And yes, you can use coat hangers if you really want to try and straighten out some coat hangers. These are much more useful. This is kind of the industry standard. Everybody uses these copper-clad steel welding rods for a number of reasons. One, they have the exact right degree of strength, of like tensile strength, but also flexibility and bendiness. You can do a lot with these. These aren't just for arm rods. You can build mechs with these. All of my eyebrow mechs with the wires around the eyebrows, this is what they're built out of. Anytime you need a rod, an inanimate carbon rod for anything, that's what these are good for. So these are 3/32 diameter, 3/32 of an inch diameter. And you can just search for, copper-clad steel welding rod or steel welding wire. Make sure they're 3/32. That's the standard diameter. And you're good. Now, they're also not that expensive. You can usually find them, I get them in hardware stores or like on Amazon. But, go to your hardware store, not to Amazon. He says, but he also goes to Amazon frequently. Hey, I gotta fight the clock, So you can get them in sort of tubes of like 20 to 40 that are about 18 inches long. A couple of years ago, ended up getting like a huge, let me see if I can actually pull this out and show you. This thing is gigantic. Let me see if we go to this camera. This is the box. It used to be much heavier because it was more full, but this is 32-inch long copper clad steel welding rod. This was like, I don't, I'm sure it says somewhere how much it was. A lot. It was a lot. 10 pounds worth of 32-inch copper clad steel welding rod. This was about $100, I think, but I'm still not even halfway through this, and it's been like 2 years, and I've made hundreds of puppets. Like, this was well worth the investment. If you're gonna make a lot of puppets, buy in bulk. So that's what I use for my arm rods. So all I do is I take those and first of all cut them in half, obviously, because they're 32 inches long, which is still long. The end result arm rod, you want to be about 18 inches-ish. It does vary, and it can vary based on puppet and performer and all that kind of stuff, but 18 inches is about a median. You want to do a couple things with it first, though. When it comes out of the tube or the box or wherever, however you get it, since these have been milled on a machine, or not milled, but like extruded or whatever it is, however they make them on a machine, there's usually machine oil on them, and you don't want that because you're going to either paint these or heat shrink them or do something to them, and you want the paint or the glue, whatever you're going to do to them, to stick. And if it's covered in machine oil, well, it's the opposite of sticky, right? So you just want to get some like dish detergent and warm water and clean them off to get that machine oil off of them. Dry them, and then I usually give them a rough sanding as well, because these are obviously very slick surfaces and you want to have some kind of adhesion. You want to rough up the surface a bit if you can. But that's it. That's all I do. These are already treated. These are ready to go. So, marrying the handle to the rod. Now, all of these handles I've already pre-drilled, these holes. So these holes are as deep as they're going to get. I didn't do that on stream. I have done a couple of things like that on stream before, but because it's using like the mini drill press, you can also do it by hand if you want. If you're getting in there with the drill and holding it, just be real careful that you don't wobble, because it's a hand and a head and a power tool should never meet, or at least the business end of a power tool should never meet. So be careful. That's why I didn't do this on stream, because, it's using a power tool, and since my drill press isn't bolted down to the desk, it can go wrong. So I have to be focused and really pay attention to what I'm doing. And on stream, of course, as you can tell, it can get very distracting. So I try not to do too much power tool stuff on stream, just because for safety. So I pre-drilled these. I'm only doing a batch of 10 right now. I usually do these in batches of 20, but I'm gonna do a small batch this time, just to get the ball rolling, and to get through it on stream. So I got 10 handles, 10 rods, ready to go. These have been washed and sanded. These have been drilled. Okay, so we're ready to go. Now, marrying these two, how do you do it? You can use hot glue if you use a good quality hot glue. It's not advisable, because hot glue, as I'm always talking about, is not a reliable adhesive. It does break, it does crack. And since hot glue on wood is pretty good because wood has pores, hot glue in metal, this is not going to hold. So, because metal is not porous, you need something different. You can use contact cement, but you probably shouldn't, because it's going to be down there in like where you can't really dry out the glue. So what you want is really a 2-part epoxy is your best option for gluing these things together. Now, 2-part epoxies are a whole lot of fun. I hope this is still liquid in here. I think I have some more in case it's not. This is JB Well 2-part epoxy. You can get all kinds of different 2-part epoxies. They're usually like 5-minute epoxy. This is a 5-minute one, which means that it starts to harden and cure in 5 minutes. You want to let it cure for an entire 24 hours before you do anything with it, but it starts to seal up in 5 minutes. The thing about 2-part epoxy is, you do have to mix it. So that is a thing. And this stuff stinks. The smell off of this, the only way I can describe it is like, if you've ever been in like a hair salon and that permanent hair solution, that it's almost hard. It's like brimstone or something. It's this terrible, awful smell, and this lingers. Like this is why I keep this in this plastic bag. It's because this smell will fill the room, and never go away, or at least not go away for a long time. This is why, like, I would never use this kind of epoxy in a inside a puppet head, because you will, once you perform that puppet and take your hand out, you will never get rid of the smell. I don't know if I'm seeing chat. Hang on. Something's going weird with chat. Are we still streaming? Tell me we're still streaming. Let me look at the stream chat here. Okay. I don't know if has everybody just been quiet, or is something going weird with chat? Let me know. Somebody say something. I can see you're out there. I can hear you breathing. Hey, it's an old joke. Anyway, moving on. Oh, okay, chat's been quiet. Good, thank you. That's all I need to know. That's fine. Chat can be quiet. I just want to make sure that nothing's broken. That's all. So what I usually do is, oh, you know what I didn't do? I'm so unprepared. I had so many things suddenly happen this morning that I'm a little bit unprepared. I'm busy puppet building. Me too. Let me see. I should have some. Excuse my absence from the camera. I am still here. Here we go. Oh, I got the resin kit out here. Gonna grab a couple of good old popsicle sticks to mix this with. And I grab an old scrap piece of cardboard, which I should have somewhere or something. Those are all patterns. I don't want to mess those up. Oh, it's an old piece of cardstock. There we go. Nope, that's paper. I don't really want to use paper. This is the stumbling block. Can't find the piece of cardstock. Yeah, I should have prepared. I apologize. I'll be with you in a second. Okay. Oh, here we go. Just need a relatively clean surface to mix this stuff on, that's all. Okay, so you can use anything, an old scrap piece of whatever. I'm going to get rid of the our little, don't call it a whatnot. Here. Put you next to Kermit. You can be blessed by the frightened Kermit. And take away the finished arm rods. What they're going to look like when we're done. So we have room to work. Okay. So, hopefully this is still liquid in here. It may not be. This is the thing. Like as soon as the two halves touch, you know, that's how these syringes work. Is there's like two chambers, one's filled with part A, one's filled with part B, and then you just squeeze it out, which will hopefully give you an equal amount. But as soon as these two touch, that suddenly seals it up. So these are designed to hopefully have that not happen, but sometimes it can. Let's see if this is even possible to open. Oh, that may be sealed. Let's see, we have to get the big guns out here. I think I have some more. I have some that come in tubes rather than these syringes. These syringes are kind of handy, but they can also be, well, like this. Kind of a pain. All right, I think we're okay. Oh, there's that stink. Wow. That's so bad. So you just want to squeeze some out. Try not to mix this before you're ready. Get yourself your popsicle stick and you mix it up. Oh, it smells so bad. I'm going to turn the fan on just to get this out of here. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to wear a mask with this as well. I don't think it's, like, you don't want to be breathing this in 24/7, but it's not like barge. Okay, so all I do is I get one end and I roll it in the goop, and then we stick it in, and we hopefully kind of get some of that epoxy down in the hole there.
and then give it a bit of a shove. Now, hopefully the hole is about the same size as the rod. So you're gonna have to apply a little pressure to get it sort of socketed in there. Don't apply too much because these things can split and then you can end up shoving a rod into your hand, and you don't want that. That's a bad thing. Now there's always a little bit of excess epoxy on the outside, and you want to kind of clean that up a bit. So I usually just grab a paper towel and just kind of roll it like that. Clean up the edge, and that also kind of seals it off as well. So once I've got that in place, you want to have this standing up. Kind of see it in the shoulder cam up there. So I got a big coffee cup here. I just put them in the coffee cup and they just rest in there. And that way that the epoxy won't run down the length of the rod or anything like that. And that's it. That's how I make my basic arm rods. So we just got to do that 9 more times. Hopefully have enough epoxy that will last. We can mix a little more if we need to. But the most important thing is you want to make sure you get some of that epoxy down in the hole. But once this sets, this will be rock solid. Like literally, epoxies are the kinds of things they use to hold automobile parts together. So you don't got to worry about this coming apart. Hate the smell of epoxy. Yeah, oh no, it's the worst. I'll take barge over this any day. This is just, and like I said, it reminds me so much of like hair perm solution. Ask me how I know. The 80s were a long time ago, okay? Okay. These are behaving themselves, I'm pleased to say. So you just want to tidy that up. You also want to be careful to hopefully not have any sticky bits touch each other, because this epoxy will set and stick together, and that's a bad thing. Even thinking about the smell gives me a headache, I can imagine. Yeah, no, this is awful. I'm going to be having the studio door closed all day with the fan on just to get this out of here. I've talked about it before, but in case you don't know, since my shop is in my apartment, it's just a little spare room in the apartment. I've got weather stripping around the door, just so when I close the door, like the smells that are in here don't get out there because of, you know, the barge and the epoxy. It's like you don't want that in the rest of the apartment. So. Okay. Exciting arm rod action. Today's puppet stream. This is more the heat reaction you're smelling. Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? Yeah, that's why it smells like the perm solution, because that is the heat reaction. But that's the thing, yeah, the stuff does get hot. Be aware of that. But the good news is that once you're done this, these are going to be nice solid arm rods that should go the distance. Particularly if you seal them up with heat shrink. I said this before, but one way you could always tell a professional hand puppet that's been used is just look at the arm rods. They are always mangled to pieces. They're always bent and warped and beaten up, and just, you ever seen some of the like behind the scenes shots of the Muppets? It's just like, what are you doing with the arm rod? And it's because that's what, you know, on set when they're being used, stuff happens. Sometimes you do just have to bend an arm rod to get the arm in the specific position, or the quickest way to do it. Arm rods are not meant to be pretty. Well, at least they don't end up pretty. But they should start out pretty. That's the goal.
Or that time when Kevin said, please excuse my torso. You know, oh, somebody has to. This, I sense, is a good batch. Sometimes you get batches that are like, they don't go so well, like the wood splits or something goes weird. This batch seems to be pretty well behaved. That's what I like in an arm rod, well behaved. Hopefully we won't need to mix another batch of this epoxy and we can put it the frig away. Ugh. I should have ended with this, not started with this. Oh well. Too late now. Now you get to live in the stink. Also, I probably should be using gloves, but oh well. How would I get them over my rings? I will go and wash my hands in a moment. I did get a little bit of epoxy. Don't worry, I won't lick it off. And there we go. Bada bing, bada boom, as the saying goes. One batch of arm rods. Now, you don't want to touch these for 24 hours. Let them sit, let them air. And you should be good. So let's see, where did that cap go? Oh no, there it is. This may be the last time this cap goes on. I guess we'll see. I've got like 3 batches of arm rods out of this, so I'm not, it doesn't owe me anything. Is this going to go on at all? No, this is not feeling good. Because maybe it. Nope, it's not going on. All right. RIP epoxy. You know what? The good news is we can put all of the waste in this bag. And so we can throw it in the trash and hopefully the bag will contain some of that smell. There we go. Oh, that probably simply get used. Okay. Seal that up. Put the hazmat symbol on it. Check it out. I'm going to go wash my hands. I'll be right back. Here's a piece of pup building kit that, or in other kinds of building that I don't think anyone I've ever seen us talked about before. This is a pumice stone. So sometimes when you're working with these kind of materials and you'll get something on your skin like adhesives that are not water soluble. So therefore you can't just use soap and water to wash them off. And if you don't have like an industrial, the kind of stuff they use in garages and stuff, you can get, you know, stuff that will dissolve. This is my solution for when you've got like, you know, something on your skin that you need to get off. A pumice stone. You're literally sanding this stuff off, but this works real well.
Get yourself some pumice. This is usually used for feet, for, you know, softening up your skin on the feet. But get yourself a pumice stone and use it for cleaning your hands. Very handy, as the saying goes. Anyway, now I just dropped this pumice stone. Now what? Anyway, see the little tips that make all the difference. Now what? We got through that much faster than I thought we would. We got almost a whole hour here. So the other thing, I have two other things I need to do. I need to make a batch of finger loops, the leather finger loops. But I also need to dye some foam for carved foam tongues. I've made finger loops on stream before, so maybe we'll save that till the end. Use my torso. I gotta stand up here. I put the drying arm rods on the windowsill here, right near the fan, so they can. Yeah, so maybe we should do the dyeing, huh? So I've never dyed anything on stream before. The only dye I have right now is this. Oh, wait, we're out of the top. Yeah, here we go. I've got so all the dyes that I use are all the RIT dyes. These are, you can get these anywhere. I've only got the liquid stuff for the red right now. Generally speaking, you probably want to buy the powder instead of the liquid, just because I mean you're literally just paying for water when you get the liquid stuff. This is all was available when I got this, so I got a bunch of this red liquid dye, so we're gonna use this. I gotta take my jewelry off for this. Oh no! But what I do for my foam tongues is I'll save up scrap. Because sometimes you'll get big pieces of scrap. This is just polyfoam. This is just like upholstery foam. And I'll save up my bigger pieces of scrap and I'll dye these, and these are what I'll turn into carved foam tongues. First things first, get all the fur off of them because they're sitting in the scrap bag. They're just covered in blobs of fur. But you can dye foam same way you would dye fabric. I have heard it suggested that you shouldn't. So when you dye fabric with this stuff, you usually put a load of salt in with it because that helps fix the dye. I've heard it said that you probably shouldn't do that with foam because the salt is corrosive, obviously, and it may degrade the foam. I'm not sure if there's any science behind that. I haven't done the experiment. I generally don't put salt in, and it's usually fine. So we're just going to go with a very, very concentrated version of the dye. We also don't need a lot because we've only got a few scraps here. So let me move these armor rods out of the way. So I just got a big Tupperware container here. I'm just going to go put some hot water in this. I won't go to the be right back screen because we just did that. So enjoy the view of this for a moment. I'll be right back. I can still talk. Hopefully the mic will still pick me up. I'm just going to this sink over here. I don't know, maybe you can still hear me. I'm pretty sure the mic should pick it up at this distance. So I'm just getting some hot water. Not too hot. I know I gotta do it in the bathtub because can't get it over the sink. All right. So I've just got like about an inch of water in this plastic container. Just be careful you don't spill it, you know, the usual. Put gloves on for this. It's dye. You don't want to dye stuff, you don't want the color of the stuff you're dyeing. And do I measure? Of course I don't measure. What do I look like? A professional puppet builder?
Yeah, we basically just want this really, really red. So make your dye, like there's hardly any water here. Like I said, this is about an inch of water. We don't need a lot for this. So, is there a seal on this? Yes, there is. There we go. So I just dump this in till it goes a really nice, look at that. That's a beautiful color, look at that. I don't know why there's tongues I can't see. That is a very unusual sentence and I don't know what it means. Just make it like a dark red. This is, wow, this is like the splatter cast, right? Wow, we're doing a whole other kind of show here, folks. So anyway, once you have your bucket of blood, that should already be pretty evenly mixed, but we'll just give it a little stir. Popsicle stick here. There we go. Wow, don't lick it. This isn't okay. This is not, it looks like candy, it's not. So what you want to do is you want to put your foam in there and then you really want to wring it through. You really want to get in there. Also, this is hot water, but this is not boiling water. This is not like, don't boil the kettle for this because this is foam, but it will melt. So you want to get this as hot as it will come out of the tap and that's it. But you want to kind of work fast, excuse my torso, because you do want to get it while the water is still warm. So you get your scraps of foam in there. And really wring them through. And the nice part about this is this means that the dye will just get right through the entire substance of the foam. So you can carve it and you can do whatever with it and it'll be the same color all the way through. Just get in there and, you know, it's a sponge. Just soak up all the liquid with your sponge. You can see already what a nice color that's going to be. And this is the raw material for my carved foam tongues. That simple. Probably should be wearing a shop apron so I don't accidentally get some red dye on my nice green shirt. But hey, we're living fast and dangerous today. But really get in there and soak it all up. And then you want to let it sit for a while. See if you can get it all to lay down flat. That's the best. You want to sort of soak everything. And I don't know. You know what? I never time this. I'll sit there for like 20 minutes, half an hour. And then you want to wring it out. And then after you're done, just hang it up to dry somewhere. And you're done. That's it. That's all there is to it. When you wring it out, you also want to sort of run it under cold water until all the dye stops coming out, because you don't want this to be on your puppet and then have dye running, So that's it. That's all this is. I'm going to go put this in the other room. I'll probably stick it in the bottom of the bathtub and just make sure that my wife knows not to have a bath while this is in it. But excuse me for a moment. I won't put the Be Right Back screen up. I just want to get this out of the way. But that's it. That is the whole deal with dyeing foam. It's over here. Just to get it out of the way. Wow, we're going. Look at this, all the things that we're doing here. So the last thing, I guess, we got a whole hour to fill. What are we gonna do? Well, we can make some finger loops. Let's see what we got here. We got some leather. Doing all of the things. Some of this I've already cut into pieces. So I usually cut these little kind of inch. This is like a ½ inch by 1 inch little pieces. These are the bases. Some are bigger, whatever.
I don't really worry too much. I used to do these thicker. I used to do these like 1 inch thick, but some of my puppets are small enough, and hopefully that's the case, that the inch wide loops were a little too big to fit in the head comfortably. So now I do 1/2 inch, and that works just fine. The inch thick were fine as well, but these are a little bit easier to work with. So what you want to do, I'm just going to make a bunch. I'm going to make like however many I can make with this much leather. So because I'm making this for the shop, I can't make it to fit individual people. I have to make this to fit as many people as possible. So I usually just go by my thumb, which, you know, is generally speaking the widest girth digit. And you can just make up your own jokes from that point. And I give it a little bit of extra. So let's see, what is that? It's probably like 3.5. 3.5. So let's go 3.5 for all dudes. And that'll probably get you in the ballpark. So let me just mark these. 3.5. 3.5. Just make as many as we've already got cut. And that's already kind of there. Let's trim that off a little bit. Scrap. So we got bases and we got loops. Bases are the little bitty ones. Now, one more coffee. I've already had too much coffee. One more coffee, Kevin. Would be a mistake. Do a base. You can always trim them down if they are too big. There you go. Usually, easily take material away. You usually cannot easily add material. That's a kind of blanket rule. It's too small for a base, so we'll just dispose of that. If we get through this, I don't know what we're gonna do. This isn't gonna take an hour. I gotta think of something to do. Have more coffee. All right. So, sewing machine. What was this from? Oh, right, the leather. You know, the thing you're just doing, Kevin. Wow, bit scattered. Do forgive. There we go. Faces, loops. So, color of the thread doesn't matter. There's some purple in here already, so we'll go with that. We'll go for a different camera. With this, how about the close-up cam? This is always fun. Let's see where we're at. Close-up cam. Let's have it there. So let's do this. Let's see what the close-up cam will go with. How's that, huh? You see? See what I'm doing there? Look at that. Do you believe the tech we have around here? I don't, and I put it all together. So, turn the power on, that's important. what you want to do is you want to take, it's going to be, if this is your standard scrap tooling, not tooling leather, but like garment leather. I just buy bags of scrap. You can get them from leather stores. I got this on Amazon. I'm sorry. But generally speaking, you will find that there is a rough side and a finished side. You want the rough side to be what's both facing the surface that you're going to glue onto, and also what's pulling against the performer, right? So you don't want the smooth side on the inside of the loop. You want the rough side. That's going to give us a nice grippy surface. So to start with, we want to put the smooth side to the smooth side. Now, the problem there is both sides are smooth, therefore slippery. And so when you start sewing this, it's going to shift around. So what I tend to do, rather than being sensible and like clipping it together or something, is, and this will, you could do this on a nice heavy duty machine like this. That camera seems to be a little bit, forgive the shaky cam, but let's see if we can get this with a slightly better angle. Since this is a heavy duty machine, this can take soft leather like this. Don't try to do this at a regular sewing machine. I'll put the needle in the middle, clamp it down, and then I'll just do some by hand and kind of hold it in place while it goes, and then reverse. But we're just turning this by hand. We're not relying on the pedal for this, and that will kind of hold it in place. And you just do one round. That will sort of lock it down, and then you can get on with the pedal and really give her. You do want to backstitch it a few times because you want this really solid. Oh, I hit the camera, forgive me. It's just a little GoPro on a tripod. So now we've got the two pieces put together. So now all we do is just close the loop. This is a little bit easier because this is rough side to rough side, so this is going to slide around. Still, you want it to be nicely aligned. So I generally start with the same thing. I gotta move that. How about there? I keep slamming it with my hand. Or how about? I mean, this is a cool shot. Don't get me wrong. We dyed foam, Jamie. You missed a whole foam dyeing sequence, like literally. And now we're making finger loops. We're doing everything today. We're just all of the things. All right. That's why there's a VOD. You should go back and watch. It looked like we had a bucket of blood. And there, once we trim off the thread, there is our finger loop. Real simple. And then we just glue that surface down to the mouth plate, and we've got our finger loops. These are a little loose, but that's just the way it has to be for a one-size-fits-all, right? That's just the facts of life, kid. Sometimes I'll make some that are a little bit tighter, and I'll put that in for the index or the ring finger or whatever, however we're going to do it. But you generally want to opt for slightly too big rather than slightly too small. Okay, so that thing I just did, we just do it again, and again, and again. And again, smooth side to smooth side, so I hold it in place and do it by hand for one round. And now we can let her rip. I just realized you can't actually see that very well, can you? The big stupid hand is in the way. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can get to a better camera position. See what happens when you don't have a producer on set. All right, put the camera in a place where your hand isn't. How about that? Here's a thought. Fortunately, the camera will only go so far. Let's see if we can move the sewing machine over a bit here. Maybe. It's all kind of weird. There is no good position. I find that for this kind of thing, you want to sink the needle in the middle first. You want to start with the needle in the down position, because that kind of helps it puncture through the leather. There we go. If you don't have a heavy-duty sewing machine, you still want to make leather finger loops. You can. What you would need to do is, it's a whole lot slower. What you would need to do is get yourself a little leather punch to make holes in the leather. Something like this is very common, although I find they're not very good. This style, for this camera, this style of leather punch, they tend to wear out pretty quickly. They're not great for repeat use. Generally speaking, the little punches that you hammer, probably what you want. But you can just do this and just make little holes. Like you go 2 or 3 little holes and then just hand stitch over and over again. And you can make these finger loops by hand. It's just way slower than doing it like this. And we do this again and again and again. Everyone loves repeat stress injuries. Because everyone loves repeat stress injuries. It is, you've got the banter today, and that's not usual. Boy, Pinecone's gonna have a job putting the timestamps in this one. Really gonna have to pay attention. I did like 18 things. Are y'all seeing that coffee stream bot? Because this is new. I didn't do that, I promise. Although kind of happy it's there. Don't be mistaken. I just don't, or if I did that, I don't remember setting that up. This may just be a new thing they're doing automatically. Hey, if you like all this stuff, looks to be on Twitch. Yeah, it is on Twitch. Okay, cool. Thank you. I guess I probably did set it up and forgot. Yeah, you know, you could shoot me a small donation if you can. Would be fantastic. So we can keep doing this, because I like doing this. Hopefully you like me doing this. The robots are reminding me to beg for money. And here I was mad at the robots. ko-fi.com/Operation Puppet. Yep. Go to Ko-Fi. Coffee. It's pronounced coffee. I'm quoting my own videos now. How sad is that? Sorry, this is shifting around. It's getting off center. I apologize. I gotta solve the puzzle of the good sewing machine cam. That is on the agenda. Figure out what the best angle to shoot the sewing machine is. Because it sure as heck ain't this. Solve the riddle of steel, yes. The riddle of steel and thread. Shiny to shiny. Which I'm sure has some meaning for Pokemon players. But it doesn't for me. Oh, there. Sometimes the machine has a mind of its own. It gets away from me. Why did the bot decide now? I don't know. What makes that determination? What algorithm has decided, oh, looks like he needs money now? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's true. Yeah, this is not even half the speed this thing can do. This thing is scary. I'm afraid to like pedal to the metal this thing. And it's a bit of a hair trigger too. I gotta be really, really careful with pedal. Okay, we're getting through it. Not gonna be that much time left. This is a bit time consuming, but you know, that's why I make them in batches, right? This base is a little too small. I don't think I'm gonna use that. You cannot have a lead foot with this machine. I know, Scarlet, honestly, I had no idea. I probably did set that up at some point, but I totally forgot about it. It was as much of a surprise to me as it is to you. I mean, look, sometimes Scarlet's busy. We need to have somebody who can step in and spam links. Just a little note here. This isn't going to be pretty. These don't look nice or anything. Don't worry about it. I know it's hard to see. It's just, yeah, it's just, these are just need to be functional. They don't need to look nice. I have more loops than bases. Oh well. We're gonna make them until we can't make any more. See, a robot doesn't have the personality of Scarlet, you know. Buy some puppets in it. I'm not even gonna attempt to do that in the appropriate accent. If I want to keep Scarlet as my friend. This is a good point. I keep forgetting. There's so much. I've had so much on my plate that this is something I should prioritize, though. We are creeping up there for the number of watch hours on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, or you want to watch the VODs on YouTube, that would help a whole lot. We are creeping up to the point of the first stage of being able to offer like memberships and things like that. We need we meet all the metrics except for a total of 3,000 hours watched. We're at like 1,900, probably cropping up to 2,000 right now. So we're not bad. We're doing pretty good. But if you want to go and watch all of this stuff on the Operation Puppet YouTube channel, that would be great. I'm not telling you to like put it on an app and walk away or anything. But if you wanted to do that, I won't stop you. It's morally wrong. Don't do that. Yeah, we're getting pretty close. I know, it's kind of exciting. It's the internet. It's always good when the numbers go up. Yes, and you keep finger loops. Loops for fingers. We're almost done. And then, you know what? I think I might just kick back and chat because I got nothing else planned for the stream. Didn't really have this planned for the stream, to be honest, but I just had a bunch of stuff I need to do. After this, I'm not actually sure what I'm going to do next, so I gotta have a think what the most productive and useful thing to do. One thing I do want to do, speaking of that YouTube metric, is get some kind of a counter for the screen, or like a, you know, like a bar that will raise as the numbers go up. The numbers go up, you know. But you know, Stream Elements or someone's got a widget for that. I'll have a look. You can write something in Python. The electric electric straps would be bad. The elastic straps are fine. I just tend to like these, but these are more sort of universally useful, right? Because you could just, like, you know, make a batch of them, right? And then you've got a whole bunch, and you can just use them. Because not every puppet needs 3 loops. Like Greeblies, you know, if you don't have a mech or something, you really only need a loop on the top and a loop on the bottom, right? So, you know, they're more flexible, the ways you can use them. This camera here. Things are slowly shifting off center. This is actually a modification of a thing that BJ Geyer teaches. Like, he teaches them as you sort of glue them down to the mouth plate as a whole solid thing. And this is sort of my variation of that, to be able to kind of, you know, use them in multiple places. So I've had them break too often. Oh wow, I had a puppet I only used once. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, I've had some definite grips that were not good early on. This is just kind of where I've settled. I'm still not quite satisfied with them. I think they could be better. I mean, the way these could be better is if I can fit them to every single individual person, right? But that's possible. Send me your finger girth is not something I generally ask to clients. Just seems rude. Two more bases and then we done, because I ain't cutting any more. So I'll have to do 4 now. Didn't I get to have more coffee? Yeah, I need more coffee, sure. I had too much coffee. Too much ko-fi.com/Operation Puppet. Never enough of that. What I need is a voice-activated bot that every time I say something like that, it just pops the link up. Because I can't just make a button on the Steam Deck that does something like that. Stream Deck, not Steam Deck. That's a different thing. Why, Valve? Why did you do that? I mean, I know why, because it's cool. Hey, there goes JV. We don't need bots, we got humans. Are you listening, Elon? Elon can't get anybody but bots to be his friends. Voice Activated Humans. It's the 3rd album from Talking Heads. And, oh, well, 2 more. This is a very small base. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we will roll the dice. Roll them bones. Voice Activated Humans, definitely Gary Newman. Sheet is shifting. I apologize for that. I just see how bad that camera angle is now. I'm sorry. Royal them boins. Hey, he just made up a 3rd thing. Roll them bones and hoist that rag. JB's coming up with the tongue twisters. It's not like Fletcher's Precious Flesh Threshers. He did it, first time. Speaking of Fletcher's Precious Flesh Threshers, Island. There is most likely going to be some Frankie Play streaming the new season of Diablo this weekend. Not sure when yet, but of course, as always, stay tuned to all the socials. We'll announce them. Join the Discord. I don't have a button for the Discord. Join the Discord and you'll find out when. It's in the link tree. Everything's in the link tree. Thank you, Jamie. There's the Discord link. And one last loop. And then we done. And we got half an hour left in the stream. We may end the stream early just because, you know, got life. Life is happening. In a good way. For a change. Yeah, have another coffee. We'll hang out for a bit and see. What if there is no Discord? We just made it all up. Well, that's an option. Look, if Discord goes the same way as every other big social platform, which it probably will eventually, we may be looking for a not Discord. There are some alternatives. It's called IRC. Join the Discord. If you don't, Kermit will find you. Dun dun dun. You can't really see Kermit right now. You see the purple guy. I gotta fix my Kermit. It's because I had to move it around and the stuffing in the head got changed. Matrix, yeah, Matrix is one of the ones that is being discussed as an alternative to Discord. It's just a big pain in the butt to like try and migrate everybody over. And, you know, you'll always lose people. This is the thing: the big social platforms are easy, right? And there's no barrier to entry for most people. So, okay, there we go. There is our batch of finger loops. Let's go to the not terrible camera. Actually, we'll go to this camera because we're probably going to be chatting for a bit now, and that's it. Excuse my torso. Move these out of the way. Oh, I'm hurting. I got some neck pain going on. I always do when I sew on the machine for any length of time. But I just put all the finger loops in a little baggie here, and those just go up on the shelf, ready to be put into the puppets. I want. Jamie's quoting the Hoist That Rag lyrics, which is a Tom Waits song for those of you who don't know. Speaking of the Discord, if you ever want some Tom Waits chat, just come to the Discord. I was gonna say I don't know how we got on so much Tom Waits chat, but of course I do because it's me. So I'm gonna go get a coffee. I'll be right back. Oh, I went to the kitchen, came back, and just the smell of the epoxy just wham. Let me make sure the door is closed so that doesn't get too far. Oh, and then the curtain fell over the window. Hang on. I gotta make sure the air is flowing out of this room. There we go. Wow. That was a lot. Considering that we still got like 20 minutes of the stream left. We covered a lot. So for Pinecone, let's see, removable arm rods. There was something between that. It was a busy stream. The removable arm rods, then making arm rods, then dyeing foam, then making finger loops. Now we're just chatting. Oh boy. That's a whole thing. Well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the day now because I originally had planned to keep prototyping these critters, but I do want to replenish some stock, and there's no Greeblies currently available on either shop, so I should probably at least make a Greebly. Oh, you always want at least one Greebly, so I think that's probably what's in line for tomorrow, probably Friday. I could do a Greebly in a day, but that's pushing it. I'm pushing it is a Greebly. Yeah, I guess it is a kind of a Greebly emergency. If you don't know, and you may not, at the moment, now this won't be applicable to people watching the VOD after August 1st, 2023, but there is a coupon sale going on for the direct shop only if you go to either my Instagram or the TikTok or YouTube Shorts. There is a video up that will give you a coupon code for $20 Canadian off the total order only on the direct shop. So FYI, not that I've dragged in sales pitch or anything, but I thought I should let the stream know about that. It is also pinned on the Discord, I think, if I remember correctly. There we go. Thank you, JV. I just wanted to let you know that in case you didn't know. Yes, but if you are going to buy a puppet from me, which I would very much appreciate, please do so on the direct shop, not on the Etsy store. Everything that's on the Etsy store is also on the direct shop, plus there's some things on the direct shop that aren't on the Etsy store. I'm trying to get out from under the iron boot of Etsy, so if you are inclined to purchase one of my puppets, that would be most appreciated if you do it on the direct shop. Prices are the same. It's just that I end up with more of that money going to me rather than to Etsy fees. That's the only real difference. So there's your. I'm not good at commercials, can you tell? So yeah, I'm gonna do Greebly. And I mean, it's Wednesday already, so you know, if I'm not going to kill myself, then I think that'll probably be it for the week. A Greebly to close out the week is not bad. I'm going to try and have a relatively relaxing weekend, I think. It's because it's been a lot of a lot of like business stuff and all this phase 2 nonsense. I'm kind of dialing back. Those of you who listen to the podcast know, or possibly even read the blog, know about this phase 2 stuff where I'm trying to like just increase the number of viewers and stuff that we get, because I am trying to get out from under Etsy. I need to just increase the number of people who are aware of what we do, because ultimately that results in oh, there we go, there's a link to the podcast. Thank you. That looks good, and I'm looking at the Discord. That looks the rich text thing, the little preview thing looks good. Yeah, so anyway, we're trying to get more people is what it comes down to, for all kinds of reasons, and just because like it's nice to have a thriving community, right? That is the ultimate thing. I mean, if the end result being more sales on the shop, all that does is enable me to keep doing this, right? So that is the whole thing. I just don't want to be subject to Etsy's whims and price gouging anymore, because nobody should be. That's the way they have proven themselves to be predatory in their business practices, and I don't want to deal with that stuff, and neither should you. As a consumer, they're not good for anybody right now. They're good for themselves, and that's it. So anyway, that's my little speech, my anti-Etsy speech. Yeah, so shout out to Tom Stewart. I don't know if Tom's watching the VOD. I know Tom does occasionally watch the VODs, and Tom listens to the podcast. I found it today, for sure. Tom and I may be having a little chat. We may be doing some kind of collaboration soon, which is very cool. I don't know if you can still hear me because there's a helicopter going by outside. Shout out to Tom Wade. So yeah, Tom's big into the puppet streams. Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, now that we're talking, we're just talking about Tom Waits. Thank you, Ballpark. That's much appreciated. Hope you have a nice rest of your day too. On the Discord, we were talking about the Tom Waits remasters, the new series of remasters. They have showed up on Apple Music, and not only that, but they've replaced the old
albums, because like I went to look at my Tom Waits playlist the other day, surprise, surprise, and some of the songs that I had placed on there manually were not available anymore. I'm like, what? What do you mean this is not available in Apple Music Canada anymore? And it's because those ones got delisted when the new remasters went up. And some tracks were just automatically replaced, and then others weren't. It was really weird. Hello, actual Kevin. Nice to see you again. Is the helicopter there to water your window flower boxes? We don't have any window flower boxes. We don't actually have any like windows that we can open like that. We're in a big apartment building. We don't have a balcony even. I mean, we have a thing that would have been a balcony, but they turned it into this like solarium thing. So that's basically where my office is now. It's weird they weren't all automatically replaced. Yeah, I don't know if you know what it may have been was like, because I had purchased some and just downloaded them, like the DRM free versions, of course, to put on my Plex server. So that may have been what confused it. I don't know. But anyway, yes, the remasters are up. And honestly, I can't tell the difference. I know there are people complaining about the mix and stuff like that, but of course, people complain about everything. You know, I have no idea. You're sealed in. I get it, as long as they keep pumping in the oxygen. Well, we do have central air, so I can't complain about that, because boy, do we need it right now. Let me tell you, it's I try to go for a walk every day. If I have a puppet to bring to the post office, it makes the walk that much nicer. But I'm always trying to do it as early as possible just to avoid the heat, because it's so nasty out there right now. We're talking about the weather. I got nothing. I am so out of gas. I might just tinker for the rest of the day and then start fresh tomorrow on the new Greebly. Here, you know what? This one let me decide. So I've got, in terms of the good fleece, I got orange, I got purple, and I have, oh, wait a minute. Here's something. Here's something that's actually kind of interesting for the Operation Puppet alum, as it were. Let's go to the top cam. So, as some of you may know, about 4 years ago, was this creature, and I still have it. It's not necessarily in the best shape, but this is the prototype Greebly. This is the Greebly Prime. This is the very first Greebly. Speaking of elastic straps, that's the grips that this creature has, and they're not easy to operate. This is where I was figuring out the design. This is also the very first fleece I ever ordered from WeirdKit, right? This is where I discovered the niceness of the WeirdKit fleece. You'll see I don't even have heat shrink tubing on the arm rods. This is all fiber filled in here. There's no foam in the head even. I can like pull this out. Wow, that looks disturbing. This is just a whole big wad of fiber fill. And because I wanted to make it kind of Kermity, right? So you can do like funky Kermity things, you know. Pupils are coming off, of course. But you know, it's actually held up pretty good. This is surprising how well this thing has weathered 4 years worth of just being tossed around into, you know, shelves and drawers and things. But this is it. This is the very, very first Greebly. And what I did find a little while ago as I was clearing out the shop, there's that robot again, is this, which is the rest of the green fleece that the very first Greebly is made out of, and there's quite a bit of it. So maybe that'll be the next Greebly. That'll make, you know, like the current, you know, deluxe version of the Greebly out of this, the original fleece. It'll be a nice kind of bookending of the Greeblies. I think that's something I could do. There's definitely enough here to do a Greebly. So maybe enough to do a whole, like an entire fleece Greebly, maybe with like a fur collar.
which is usually what I do for that. But that's this is real nice. It's still great. So there we go. I think that's it. That's got to be it, right? We got to do a nice. We'll do one with this fleece, and yeah, evil twin. We'll do it with this fleece and like the nice Stacy Gordon EVA foam sphere eyes. Maybe with the bead pupil, maybe not. I'm not sure about that, but those are really, really hard to align. I'm gonna have to take a few stabs at it, but these are the nice EVA foam spheres, and as you can see, hopefully the camera will focus. These have got the nice texture on them. So that'll be nice. I'll do eyelids as well for these. So. Yeah, I think that's what's next. There we go. We have a plan now. Just because I happened to look up and saw the green fleece. The inspiration will strike. You at least expect it. You have some green fur as well. So we could do it just like this. Even with I haven't got this orange, or maybe I do. Maybe I have a scrap of it. But I could do red hair as well. So I really like the combination of the green and the red. It's really striking. Maybe we'll just do like the deluxe version of this. Yeah, I'm into that. What lucky person is gonna buy and then get like the whole backstory? Like, well, you see, the way it is there was this very first Greebly. There is a little tiny bit of foam in the head underneath the eyes because the eyes are put on with screws in a bracket. I didn't want that to be touching the performer's skin, so I glued a little block of foam on there. But, you know, it held up pretty good. Deluxe original Greebly, exactly. You know. I think I have an older video on the channel as well where I introduced this. I think it may have been the Fraggle Story video where I had this one kind of in the background, and you know, looking a little bit draggled there, but you know, one day this will be in a museum. Sure it will. Look at this. Look at the size of the handles on this. And what is this? What even is this? What are they? And there's Gorilla Glue. On the end of the handle is that stuff that like foams up and gets really big and lumpy. It's like these are not good arm rods. My arm rods have got much better since I made this. But yeah, I think that is next. So stay tuned to the socials. Extra long comfort handles, yes. Yeah, I'll start that tomorrow. I'll hopefully finish it. We'll finish it on Friday. That's the plan. We got a plan. Look at that. Good plan. I like that plan. As plans go, it's among the better ones. I'm going to finish my coffee. Then I'm going to go have some lunch. We are breaking a little bit early, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Your purple eyelid looks ripped. I know this these ripples. So this is polar fleece. That's another thing I'm doing with these. Is I'm trying to make polar fleece look nice. But when I did the draping for the body, it kind of developed these ripples. Now this is going to be wearing clothes, so I'm not terribly worried about that. But it is a bit disturbing. So like ripply thing. It doesn't actually look as intense in real life as it does on camera. On camera, it really stands out. But
yeah, well, I've been working out, you know.
So yeah. These are pretty good though. I like these. There's something. This is the same base JB as your Nosferatu. This is the same basic puppet. Just put a big nose and ears. Same size and everything. The arms are also, yeah. I stuffed them a little bit more than. Well, that's the. Because I don't do foam tubes for the arms for these, I put fiberfill in there. So I kind of roll them up into bunches and then stuff them in discrete bunches, and then it looks like musculature, right? Which is kind of nice. It's good for the character. And it actually makes the hands look a bit better too, so. I've been bombed to bomb you off. Yeah. It is a big count now that I look at it. It's like I could turn that into like a mini count pretty easily. No, we're not doing replicas. Times are tough business-wise. They're not that tough. I will not do replicas unless I won't do replicas. As far as you know, I won't do replicas. And on that note, the coffee's gone, so I'm gonna end the stream. Needs a Pups 4-pack, yeah. Right now he's got about a 16-pack. Okay. I'm gonna go have some lunch. Thank you everybody as always. What a delightful stream that was. Good luck, Pinecone, if you are able to do your usual wonderful job of doing the timestamps. That's much appreciated. Old news for you, but looks like you lost some weight. Yes, boy did I ever. It's been a whole thing. It's been a while. Nice to see you. I like your hat. In your avatar, that is. Anyway, I'm gonna go have some lunch. Thank you everybody. Stay tuned to all the socials. You got the links to everything. Join the Discord. Listen to the podcast. Shout out Scarlett. Shout out Tom Stewart. Shout out Jamie. Thank you very much. Shout out everybody in the chat. Shout out Indies Keep, Actual Kevin, Puppet Builder or Puppet Chaos on YouTube. You know, all of the things. I'm gonna go have lunch. I'm all over the place. Have a good day, everyone, and stay tuned because Frankie play this weekend.